Welcome, everyone. Hello, I'm Beth Purcell with True North Academy. And today we are going to give you a behind the scenes look at one of the amazing live online classes delivered by one of our brilliant teachers. So, if you've ever wondered, what actually happens during class? Or will this teacher be a good fit for my student? Well, you are in the right place. This is your learning experience test drive. So instead of simply telling you about the class, we're going to show you. I'm going to be stepping into the role of student while our True North featured teacher leads me through a sample lesson. So just like they would with their own students. So let's jump in and meet today's teacher. Hey, Anna Knaub. Hello, welcome.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
It is so great to see you, and I'm so excited to jump into your class today. Now, let me ask you just a quick question before we get started.
Yeah.
Anna, what do you think students most enjoy about your classes?
Oh, I have actual answers for this.
Okay.
My students love the variety of assignments that they get. So it's not just tests, it's not just fill in the blank. They do creative things and presentations and group work, as we're getting ready to see here. So it's really awesome. They get a variety of, like I said, assignments to kind of keep it a little more exciting. You never know what I'm going to come up with next.
Oh, I love that. So it's not just reading and then writing an essay or reading and taking a test. You give
Yeah,
me choices. You give me a lot of fun things to do as your
I
student. Now,
try.
today, Anna, we're going to be previewing cinematic stories.
Yeah,
Is that right?
yeah.
Okay. So, cinematic stories through film is our class today. Anna, when is this class offered this fall? When are you offering
Oh,
it?
I think it's Wednesdays.
Okay, let me look. Let me see.
Maybe
Friday?
Friday.
Friday,
Friday. I am.
11:30 Central.
Yeah.
Friday, 11:30 Central. Cinematic
Yes.
stories through film. All right, so that's what our test drive is today. You've convinced me, Anna, to jump in. So, Miss Knob, what are we doing today?
Sorry, my phone is ringing and I can't get it to stop.
Oh
I wasn't, and it was ringing through my laptop, and I couldn't. I didn't know if you heard it or not. Um, Technology, it's so great. Alrighty, we are talking about Hercules today. So it is the first day of our unit. We are jumping in here. One of the things that I absolutely love about Hercules is it is a fantastic example of so many different things, from archetypes to a plot mountain to the hero's journey. And because we're going to be watching the movie, the music is great, right? It is one of my absolute favorites. And so we're starting with that this year because it's going to give us a little taste of all of the different skills and things that we're going to be doing more in depth with the different movies that we do as we go through this year. So,
no.
uh, if you go to your topic boards, we do have, there we go here. We do have our Hercules board here, the hero's journey and Freytag's pyramid. So in this unit, we're going to be looking at the structure of storytelling through Freytag's pyramid and the hero's journey with Hercules, as we've already said, right? We're going to analyze the hero's internal transformation and external plot development that shape the legendary tale. Through discussion, charting, written analysis, students will identify key stages in each model, examine how they intersect, and evaluate how themes of strength, redemption, and identity unfold across Hercules' trials. By the end of the unit, you will demonstrate your understanding of structure and character development and work together to create timeless stories of heroism. So, in a minute, we're getting ready to read the story of Hercules here. That's kind of our little pre-activity. And we are going to be doing some Padlet here. It's one of my favorites, but I want to start by showing you guys a little bit of our overview of the unit packet. So the unit packet is going to be uploaded here for you, and I'm going to switch my share screen. All right, so this is the unit packet. You can print this all off at once, or I will have the assignments uploaded individually too. So either way, you'll have it in all of the different places. And like I just said, it's an awesome introductory movie because we'll be able to learn so many foundational skills and vocabulary, right? If I say Freytag's pyramid, you may not know what that means right now, but you will in a hot minute, I promise. And we're going to use them the entire school year. So you're going to need to know it. We're going to cover archetypes for homework. Yes, Miss Purcell.
Miss Knob, do we have to find that movie on our own, or is there a link you provide us? How do we watch the
Yeah.
Hercules movie?
Yeah, so you guys are required to have your own movies. Pretty much all of them are going to be on like Disney Plus, or
Okay.
you may be able to find them on another streaming platform, YouTube. If your parents are like me, they may even have it on VHS or DVD still.
Yeah. So
Um,
does it matter if it's a modern day or if it's like a classic black and white movie?
yeah, that's a great question because there are definitely lots of Hercules versions.
Yeah.
We are doing the Disney Hercules.
Okay. Okay. We can
We're doing
find
the
that. We have
Disney
Disney.
animated Hercules.
Got it.
Great question.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, perfect. My kids love it. Yes. So we are going to be doing archetypes, story and plot, soundtrack analysis, and character analysis for homework. And we're going to be doing hero's journey and theme in class. And we're also going to be talking about setting and conflict in class as well. So over the next 2 weeks, you're going to watch the movie at least once. If you're like me, you watch it more than once because it's a good movie. You're going to complete the work I have below here, and we're going to work in small groups in class. You get to talk to friends. So you're going to be in breakout rooms, and we're going to have whole class discussion. So you get to start talking to the other kids, guys, to identify some of these things. So, how many of you have seen one of these mountains here?
I,
Yes,
I
right?
think my teacher called it Plot Mountain.
Yes.
Is that
This
what that
is
is?
Yes, this is what many of us know as a story mountain or a
Mm,
plot mountain.
mhm.
However, the very fancy name for it is Freytag's pyramid, because that's the guy who came up with this.
Great.
Uh, and there's also sometimes for you guys going to be a few extra little pieces, okay? So down here in this bottom corner, I might ask you to give me an example of archetype, or I might give you the different types of conflict, as you can see here. So at the end of watching the movie, you're going to fill one of these out for all of the movies. And that tells me you understand the main part of the movie, the climax, the different rising actions, the setting, and the main characters, right? So
Mm.
you get to do one of these for every movie. Get used to it. You're going to be so good at this by the end of the year. We're going to be doing some character stuff. So you each are going to be assigned a character, and you're going to look at the character arc. How does the character start and how do they end, right? What is the main character's conflict? Each character has a different conflict in the movie. And we're going to talk about archetypes. Again, you may not know what that is right now. That's okay.
Mhm.
We're just doing the run through, just so you know what's coming down the pike here.
So I better pay attention to the character and how they change, right? Is that what you're
Yeah.
asking me here?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's exactly what we're going to look at.
Okay.
And we're going to look at how the character interacts with other characters too.
Mhm.
So there's more than one kind of bad guy in Hercules, right? He has to fight monsters, and he's fighting Hades, and he's fighting the Titans. So we're going to navigate some of those different things with the different characters. And we will talk about it more on the day that I actually assigned this. Like I said, we're just looking through. So you guys
Oh,
have an idea
okay.
of what's happening. Yeah. And I have the archetypes all listed out for you.
There are a
You
lot
only
of them.
There's a lot of them, but you will be able to print this out and have this next to you while you're working, or you can have it on like your iPad while you're doing work. But I'm always going to give you the notes and the resources for you to be able to complete assignments as we do them. I promise. That's my thing.
Okay.
And we even have stuff with like colors and symbols because one of your assignments will be identifying examples of archetype throughout the movie. And I always give you at least one example. Like
Okay.
Megra wears a purple dress, which represents not just royalty, but her personal growth and experience through the movie.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Ah, yeah. And this one, because the Hercules soundtrack is so fun, we get to take a look at the soundtrack and how it helps influence the mood and tone of the movie.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think
that's kind of,
songs can be very important to movies.
yeah, and especially, like I said, Hercules has such fun music. Like Zero to Hero is like a bop. We're singing that one around our house all the time. Okay, so this is kind of our overview. These are the things that we're going to be looking at and that you guys are going to be doing for homework for the unit. Like I said, this was just an overview, so no big deal. But we're going to jump in because now we need to know, who is Hercules? Now, Hercules was originally a Greek story, right? It's another reason we're starting with it. The Greeks were like some of the OG awesome storytellers. And so we're starting with a Greek story, right? And we are going to look at the hero's journey. This is something that the Greeks loved. And you see that in Odysseus and the Iliad and Homer and all of these great old dead dudes, right? And so the hero's journey, and I'm going to show you an example of what you're eventually going to do when we get towards the end here with the Hobbit, right? There's 12 steps in the hero's journey. And this looks really scary right now. I know. We're only going to look at a few of those steps today as we are reading Hercules' story.
Mhm.
And I have another example for you of, oh, let's switch windows here. Bloop, bloop, bloop. All right, so last school year, I had a student. One of the assignments I had them do was to pick a movie that we're kind of like familiar with. This is Finding Nemo, if you can't
Oh,
tell.
yeah.
And
I know
so,
this story.
yeah, so today we are looking at kind of the six main steps of a hero's journey. There's some little ones like we saw with the Hobbit there. So like Nemo's call to adventure is that he wants to see the ocean and he goes to touch the boat, right? He wants to adventure. So he has his call to adventure. And then he has trials, right? He's uh, Marlin and Dory escape Bruce and the vegetarian shark and the anglerfish, and they have to navigate all of these things, right? So we're following Marlin's kind of hero journey here. And then the abyss and the separation. Nemo was captured. So he's literally physically separated
Mhm.
from Nemo. And
Mhm.
they have to face these dangerous parts and literally the darkness, right? They like go down, down, down with this scuba mask. And so then they have this meeting of the mentors, right? They meet Crush, the coolest turtle you've ever met,
Yeah.
who teaches them to go with the flow, right? And he helps guide them on their journey through the current as they're going. They have ordeals. They get swallowed by a whale, and they have to figure out a plan to escape to continue on their journey. And finally, Dory and Marlin reunite with Nemo,
Oh,
and they rescue Dory, and the three of them return to their home to the coral reef, right? So we have this beautiful, if you will, story arc. We follow the whole story from Marlin's perspective, right?
yeah.
That is his hero's journey. Now we're going to do the same thing with Hercules. And some of you are also going to be doing the story mountain. So if we come back over to our topic board here,
Yeah.
you guys, I'm going to put you into two breakout rooms.
Mhm.
Everybody is going to read Hercules' story here with your group.
Okay.
And then breakout room one, you are going to be doing the pyramid here, the thing that we just talked about.
Mhm.
So the exposition, the intro, where does the story take place? Some of the main characters, the conflict. What is the main problem in the story? What does Hercules have to do?
Mhm.
Some of the different things he does while he's kind of getting there. The climax of the story, the falling action. So, what kind of happens? How are we ending to tie it in a bow? And then the resolution is, how is everything kind of neatly packaged and handed to you? What is the lesson learned? Okay.
Mhm.
And then group two is doing those six steps of the hero's journey.
Oh, mhm.
Okay. So, group one, you're reading the story and filling out the pyramid. And I put in some of the movie pictures there for you.
Okay.
And group two is reading and doing the hero's journey. I'm going to give you guys about 15 minutes to read and discuss and do that. And then we are going to come back together and go over all of them as a class. And
Okay.
all your answers. Alrighty.
Okay.
And we'll see how good you guys already are. All right.
Okay.
All
All
right.
right. Time lapse. Breakout room. Read. Work. Collaborate. Okay.
Hey. All right, welcome back, guys. You worked hard. I was keeping an eye on the Padlet as you were working. I could see all of you working and adding answers. And so let's take a look at your first one. And I'm actually going to open this big for us so that we can see your answers.
Miss Knob, I
Hopefully, can
really
you see that big?
enjoyed
I can see.
the breakout rooms. It's fun collaborating with my friends.
Isn't it so fun getting to
Mhm.
see your friends and
Mhm.
like actually talk to them? This is so great. I love, and that's why I like Padlet too, because everybody kind of like work together and add things and like edit things if you spell something wrong. All right, so our Freytag's Pyramid Story Pyramid group, you guys crushed it. Like I said, I've been watching you guys do this as we were going through here. Um, Exposition, ancient Greece and Olympus, right?
Mhm.
Hercules
Yep. Yep.
kind of stays mostly in one spot.
Mhm.
The conflict, there are monsters, dun dun dun, and Hera, evil Hera, she makes Hercules go crazy, and so he has to pay for the atonement of the murder of his family. This is very dramatic.
Yeah, we
Leave it to the
weren't really
Greeks, right?
sure.
Um,
Miss Knob, we weren't sure if Hera should go in there or not,
yeah,
but she kind of creates the conflict, doesn't she?
yeah, she's
Okay.
like his conflict. She's the problem, right?
Okay.
So it's going to be a little different than the movie, which is fun, right? Because this blue guy up here, Hades, he's like the bad guy in the movie.
Mhm.
So it's fun to see the difference between the story and the movie too, right?
Mhm.
So then we have some of our rising actions. You guys did a great job here. He goes to the Oracle of Delphi. He goes to King Eurystheus of Tyr, whatever that crazy place
Yeah.
is.
We weren't
And then
sure how to pronounce it in our breakout group. We just
listen,
called it EFT.
my husband took Greek. I did not. I did Latin and German. So that's where we're at there. And then he has to work through the 12 labors. So you guys crushed it, right? The
Mhm.
rising actions there is him working through all of those.
Mhm.
And the climax, I am so impressed you guys got this climax.
Yeah.
It's his last task.
Yeah.
It's the capture of Cerberus,
Yeah.
who, if you are a Harry Potter fan, you also know as Fluffy, right? So that is his last task. That is the climax. And we have our falling actions here. Hercules is finally freed from his servitude, and he gets to go to Mount Olympus immortal, right? He has gone the distance, if you will. I also really, really love cheesy jokes and lines. So get used to it, guys. Um, and the resolution is he has left a legacy for humans
Mhm.
for strength and endurance. Guys,
Mhm.
nailed it. Perfect. So we have kind of our things there. We have our pyramid, our actions rising, our climax, our falling actions, and our beautiful little bow. Our lesson is the legacy for humans, right? Because a lot of these Greek stories, especially, were done because there's a story, right? We think of Aesop's fables. Most of you guys have probably read Aesop's fables.
Mhm.
Um, the Greeks, right? That's it. So there's our pyramid, and let's take a gander at the hero's journey here, okay? Uh, so here, a lot of these kind of crisscross. Go figure.
Oh.
As you move through the story, the plot kind of goes along with the hero's journey. You're going to see that here. So, our ordinary world and our call to adventure. Hera drives him to madness. He murders his family and must atone. That is his call to adventure. He must atone, right? He goes from being an ordinary guy, married with kids, to this mess, right? Then he goes to the Oracle of Delphi. That's where we consider kind of like the refusal. They're like, I don't really want to do this. And the Oracle, who's kind of the mentor, is like, guess what? You have to do it. And this is how you have to do it. Um, and then you guys have the test allies and enemies.
Mhm.
I think this one's a little self-explanatory. He has those 12 labors, right?
Yep.
And then the grand ordeal there is capturing Fluffy, as we said, right?
Yeah.
He faces death in his 12 tasks and proves he's a real hero. His resurrection, his atonement, he makes it to Mount Olympus, right? He
Mhm,
comes
mhm,
back stronger and better than ever. He's accepted and approved, and he's now immortal.
mhm.
And the return with the elixir, if you will, right? The
Mm.
lesson is of strength and endurance, as we talked about. So, a lot of times, guys, the hero's journey often follows the story plot, right?
Yeah.
Depending on the hero you're following, right? So,
I mean,
like,
the resolution and the return are just about the same, huh?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
And the rising action
Mhm.
is the tests and allies,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Yeah.
The abyss and the ordeal is the climax.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
and the resurrection and atonement in this case happens to be his falling actions. I know
Oh,
that's a little there, but
yeah.
um, so you can see how there's often kind of crisscross and matchup. So now for homework, what you guys get to do is you get to watch the movie and you get to fill out the story mountain for the movie, not the story,
Oh.
the Disney
Oh.
movie. Yes, yes. And then we'll talk about it next week. Dun, dun,
So our
dun.
breakout was for the short story that you gave us that we all read together, but the movie's going to be a little different. So
Yes,
our
yes,
our plot will look a
yes,
little different. Oh, well, I'm excited to see the
yes.
movie now.
Yeah, because there's lots of differences. There's some crisscross,
Yeah.
but there's some differences. And that's what makes it fun too. So now we've done our reading. That was the reading portion of English. Can you believe it, guys?
Easy.
Um, at least for this one. There's some more reading with some other ones, but that one's a little shorter. And now you have an idea going into the movie how to do the plot and how to look for his hero's journey.
Yep.
And then we'll go over it next week. And then we'll start diving into characters and archetypes and the soundtrack.
Awesome, Miss Knob. I
Yeah.
know I can do this.
Woo! Yay!
All right, I gotta go find my movie now.
It's such a good movie, guys.
Oh, Anna, I understand why students love this class now. Totally. It's fun, it's exciting. And you make it doable because so many of the words and the terms that you use could be really kind of fearful for students, but
Yeah.
you make it so easy to understand and you make it so relevant to what they already know. That's
I,
awesome.
we try, and I one of the things that I love about this class is it's great for seniors who just like need that last credit kind of thing,
Yeah.
but it's also really great for that ninth or 10th grader that either isn't a super strong reader or
Yeah.
maybe they love to read, but they need help picking out these things, right? Like
Yeah.
it's easy to watch a movie,
Yeah.
and it may even be easy for a student to read a book, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's a long one or a short one.
Yeah.
But then how do you peel back those layers
Yeah.
of the onion, if you will, right? How do you find things like the hero's journey, the archetypes, the symbolism, and what is the importance of those things, right? Like
Yeah.
it's one thing to identify, okay, Hercules is the main character,
Yeah.
but why is that important?
Yeah,
What does that
exactly.
give us? What does that tell us as what do we learn from that? And so it's just a really fun way to give sometimes younger students those
Yeah,
tools
yeah,
for them to then take those higher level to be less afraid.
yeah,
Take
yeah,
those higher level literature classes, the Who Done It, the
yeah,
Brit Lit survey, the dystopian, because
yeah,
realistically, I teach those things in Beowulf,
yeah,
in Lord of the Flies, in Gathering Blue with Worlds Unraveled. So this is a really easy way to give them those foundations
yeah,
in a way that's not overwhelming, in a way that's easily accessible, like the Hercules movie. We're doing the Sword and
yeah.
the Stones too. I'm so excited for that one. And The Hobbit and Princess Bride and
Ah,
all of these great movies that a lot of us love and have probably already seen, but just giving them depth in the same way that a lot of students come to Brit Lit having read Pride and Prejudice or having read King Arthur, right? But now we go deeper with it and
yeah.
have a lot of fun doing that.
Well, I love that because part of learning is perspective. and
Yeah.
application. And so you are applying literary elements and techniques to movie making, and you're
Yeah.
giving me a different perspective. So the next time I watch a movie, I'm going to be looking for these things. And
Right.
I'm going to be applying what you have taught me to these other great stories that I want to view on the big
Yeah.
screen. So application and perspective is just one more piece of the puzzle. And as you said, and then it makes all these other things accessible to me to where I'm not so fearful. I can do this. And
Yeah.
that's another thing that we really want to emphasize at True North. We can
Yeah.
do hard things, right? We can
Yes.
do hard things.
Yeah.
Anna, so you teach a couple of other classes at True North. Tell me about those.
Yeah, so along with cinematic stories, as I mentioned, I teach Worlds Unraveled, which is
Mm.
a dystopian lit class. And what we do is in the fall, we read two whole dystopian novels.
Yeah.
We are reading House of the Scorpion and by
Mm.
Nancy Farmer and Gathering Blue by Lois Lowry. What I
Okay.
found is a lot of students have read The Giver already, but
Mhm.
not a lot of students have read Gathering Blue, which is a companion book to The Giver,
Oh,
actually.
okay.
And so you don't have to have read The Giver before reading this one, but it's nice to kind of mix it up because, again, a lot of students come in having read that already.
Right.
So we read those two stories. We cover a lot of the things that we just talked about, the
Yeah.
archetypes, the story plotting, mapping all of that out for two reasons.
Yeah.
One, students, the second half of the fall semester in groups create their own dystopian society. And it's a
Oh.
super fun project. And they do a presentation, they come up with their own government, they do slogans and posters and the whole nine yards.
Wow.
But then in the spring semester, we spend the whole semester writing their own dystopian stories. So we do
Ah.
all of the back planning, the world building, the character building, the outlining. We do all of that kind of together in whole class and small groups and partners. And then they spend about 10 weeks writing their story
Wow.
every week, either in small groups or with a partner. They read, but I don't just have them read and edit kind of willy nilly. It's okay. This week with your partner, I want you to focus on the intro. What do you know?
Oh, okay.
Another week, I have them focus on reading for the setting, that world building. Towards the end, I start going, okay, I need you to read for plot points, right? Are there any plot holes anywhere?
Yeah.
I have them read for character growth, right? Character
Mhm.
analysis. It it ebbs and flows as their stories lengthen and we get closer to the end. So by the end, it's kind of like all of the students have a little bit of ownership and heart and peace in each
Yeah.
other's stories, which is fantastic.
That's
Uh,
great. So very
yeah,
guided writing and
yes.
very focused.
Yeah,
But I love that your students are creating on their
yes.
own. Now, I have one quick question about this
Ah,
class. What sets dystopian lit apart? When you talk about dystopian literature,
yeah.
what is that genre, if you will?
Yeah. So dystopian literature is worlds and societies typically imagined. So I have like Brave New World sitting here, which is another one that
Yeah.
I've taught with the class.
Okay.
And Huxley envisioned
Yeah.
the world 100 years in the future when he wrote
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And now we are way closer to it than many of us would like to be, right? And so we see it's a really neat opportunity because most dystopian literature, there's a foundation of searching for identity,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Mhm.
Society is controlled by taking away and controlling identity in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And so it's a really neat dive for students to also do who are looking for identity themselves, right? And so
Interesting. Yeah.
I get the really beautiful opportunity to do that from a Christian worldview and perspective for kids.
Right.
They're teenagers. Some of them, like, I want to be this when I grow up. This is who I am. This is what I'm doing. And others of them are feel like they're a puddle on the floor and they're like, I don't know who I am, where
Yeah.
I'm at, what I'm doing, where I'm going. And so we kind of get to navigate
Mhm.
some of that just a little bit.
That's
Um,
awesome.
Going back to kind of the original word, right? And what
Yeah.
God says we are. So, um,
How amazing. What an amazing learning opportunity. And this class is Wednesdays, 11:30. Central
Yes.
Time. Is that
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
11:30 Central Time on Wednesdays. Okay, and you have another one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the other class that I teach is Brit Lit Survey, and I'm not
Mm.
gonna lie, this one's a little bit my baby, because my scholastic concentration is words, medieval and Renaissance literature. I'm so excited, I can't even
Oh,
say it.
yes.
And so we go through chronologically. It is a survey. This was like the hardest class ever to write because I love all of it.
Yeah.
But we do Beowulf.
Uh-huh.
We do whole stories of King Arthur. So we're not able
Okay.
to read the entirety of King Arthur,
Right.
but we do read whole stories within the book, if you will, because
Right.
they're all individual stories. Anyway,
Right.
we do a few of the Canterbury Tales,
Yeah.
which is a lot of fun. We talk about historical context. We talk about Old English, and I read
Mhm.
the prologue in Old English for everybody, which is great. Um, and we talk about the depth of characters that Chaucer has. And
Oh, wow.
again, so much fun. We do other things like they had create their own coat of arms. They do an essay in the semester. And we kind of wrap it up with a little bit of Shakespeare.
Mhm.
We do not have time to fit an entire play in, but we do delve into some of his sonnets and poems and the rhyme schemes. And then in the spring, we do Pride and Prejudice.
Okay.
We read the entirety of that. We do Jonathan Swift, A Modest Proposal.
Mhm.
We do some of the British romantic poets, so Lord Tennyson and Yeats and the fine dead guys. And we wrap up. I always joke that like I live with dead people. And then we wrap up the year with Lord of the Flies,
Mhm.
which ends up across the board every year I've taught Brit Lit. Lord of the Flies ends up being everybody's favorite.
Oh,
Um, Again, we talk about historical context. The cool thing about Lord of the Flies is William Golding actually. I was alive when he was. He did
mm,
not pass away until the 90s.
yeah.
And so we actually have extensive information about his heart behind this book, why he wrote it, his life experiences that he put into it. And so
Mm-hmm.
we're really able to read it in a way that's completely unique and different from the other authors that we read.
Yeah.
Um, and they do a really neat interactive map assignment with the island. They do journal entries from the perspective of a character, setting analysis.
Neat.
And so, yeah, we just go through chronologically. We learn about the importance of historical context, right? You cannot have literature without history, and you can't have
Right.
history without literature. And
Right.
even if the author is writing something fantastical, like a hero like Beowulf defeating a dragon, it's in there for a reason. And
Yeah.
that's in the core of the history of it. And
Yeah.
so it's a really strong academic class, if you will,
Yeah.
but the students keep telling me that it is a challenging class, but
Yeah.
I give them the resources and they have so much fun doing it. I help for all of my classes. I pace things out. I give them like printout sheets that say read this many pages each day for 5 days and you'll get your reading done. And
Awesome.
I really kind of help them break it down, so that instead of going, oh my gosh, I have to read this whole book, they're like, okay, I need to read 5 pages today and I'm good. And that's a whole lot less scary.
Yeah.
This is a whole lot less scary than this is. Uh,
Yes, for sure. So
and
what
so
a
yeah,
great survey of the gamut of
yes,
Britlit, right?
that's the
Great,
goal. Yeah.
great samplings from all of it. Now tell me about when this class is offered.
This class, this year we have two sections of it because last year
Okay.
it filled.
Oh,
It
okay.
filled.
Okay.
And so this year we have a section on Wednesday and a section on Friday, and those are filling.
Yeah.
As far as I know, those are both about halfway full.
Okay.
So if you want to get actually, I think all three classes are
Mhm.
about halfway full.
Yeah.
So if you are wanting to get your student into one of these classes,
Yeah.
I would do it sooner rather than later because we do get the bulk of our enrollments in the beginning of August. And
Yeah.
we are at mid-July right now.
Mid-July.
So you have time to squeak in there. And I know
Yeah.
that a lot of other classes are starting to fill up and close too.
Right. Yeah.
It has
So
been
be
crazy this
sure.
year.
Yeah. Be sure
Yeah.
and grab your seat if you want to learn from Anna this coming school year. Anna, thank you so much. A huge thank you to you.
Yeah.
our featured True North teacher today. Thank you for letting me crash your classroom.
Yes, thank you so
And
much for joining us.
I think you've got some great things to offer students. And if you think your student would enjoy learning this way, learning from Anna, be sure and check out the class details. All the classes that Anna offers are linked in the comments. Grab your spot today because it is filling fast. So, thank you again, Anna, for joining us today.
Yeah.
Thank you for viewing this test drive of cinematic stories through film. And remember that education isn't just about learning facts, it's about perspective, as we talked about today, discovering new possibilities, curiosity, creativity, and growth. So thanks for learning with us today, and we'll see you in our next preview again soon. Thanks, Anna. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.